Mark Murphy, the president of the Green Bay Packers, he's just phenomenal. I wish Mark
You
Murphy,
like it?
I can't get enough of it. It's every single offseason he says something, and then somebody has to pull him aside afterwards and say, dude, really? I would love to see him walk into an interrogation room. They wouldn't get into the room before he spilled the beans. And not because he's like a rat, just because he has no idea. He's so unaware to what he's actually saying. So if you remember, he had a couple of things to say. Was it 2 Fridays ago? He was speaking with a local Green Bay affiliate, Fox 11 in Green Bay, and he had this to say regarding the Aaron Rodgers situation with the Packers.
Is there a scenario where Aaron is still the starting quarterback of the Packers next season?
Yeah. I mean, if things don't work out the way we would want them, yeah. But, I think it's trying to find what he wants and what we want, and hopefully we can find a win-win situation.
If he requests a trade, will you honor it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we would. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just all right, there it is. That's the update on Rodgers. Now, what makes this even better is that Mark Murphy was speaking yesterday at a tech summit at Lambeau Field, and he had now this to say. Again, that was
setup.
A little over a week ago.
That was the setup right there.
But he had this to say at the tech summit at Lambeau Field last night.
I would love to tell you everything you want to know about Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, but I've under sworn secrecy not to say anything.
So there it is, sworn secrecy. Forget everything you heard a week plus ago. He's sworn to secrecy. He cannot talk about Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. I think it's hilarious. I can't get enough of Mark Murphy.
I mean, let's not read too far into it. I mean, he's clearly having a good time with that in that moment. I'm sworn to secrecy that I'm not supposed to talk about this.
Do you think somebody, though, pulled him aside after what he said 2 Fridays ago and said, hey, Mark, maybe.
Don't say S.
Yeah, what are you thinking? You did this last offseason. You did it the offseason before. This feels like it's a common theme here with you. And, we were calling it Weekend at Murphy's 2 off seasons ago because he would air something out on the weekend, and the reporter asking the question is looking around going, did I really just get all that? I got all that. I'm working the weekends. I got all that. And now it's going to make the rounds. And it's funny to see how he's now taking a step back. And no, listen, I can't talk about any of that when a week plus ago he was airing the entire situation out. I think he's hilarious.
I just think because they've put it all out there. It's all out there. So it's almost like if he continues to talk about it, of course – there's some way somehow that Aaron Rodgers will have a way to brilliantly play off of what he says.
Are you saying he keeps receipts, Aaron Rodgers?
I mean, I'm just saying he's proven he keeps his receipts.
Yes, he does.
So I think at this point there's no reason for Murphy to have anything to say anyway. He is honoring the fact that Aaron Rodgers wants a trade. They just want what they want out of it. He made it very clear. We want to win, but we also want Aaron Rodgers to win. So if they don't feel like what's on the table right now for them to let Aaron Rodgers go is a win, then I guess if you're really listening to him at face value, Aaron Rodgers could possibly be the quarterback of Green Bay next year.
Oh, man.
Because they could here's what I would do. If I'm New York, if I'm the New York Jets, I'm putting a time limit on this whole thing. We want to trade for him. We want to get it done, but we're not giving up a first-round draft pick. You have until tomorrow to make a decision. Let us know what you're going to do, because you're not going to hold us hostage over a draft pick in the first round. You're not going to do it. So if you don't want this trade to happen, then we're moving on. And if I was the Jets, that's what I would do. And I would pray to the football gods, lowercase g. I would pray to those football gods and hope that Green Bay has enough sense to go ahead and figure out what the best course of action is moving forward in terms of completing the trade. Is the first-round draft pick in the trade deal more important than you unloading that big-ass contract that Aaron Rodgers has? And is it worth risking Aaron Rodgers being on that football team, the Green Bay Packers, this upcoming season? Is it worth that? That's the question that has to be answered here. Are they okay with bringing Aaron Rodgers back? Because, again, while, we heard Albert Breer say, and even with Q, that cooler heads will prevail, they'll get the deal done, so on and so forth. Well, what if they don't? Again, and I said that when this first started, because if they don't want to give up their draft capital to get a player that may play 1 to 2 more years, what is it worth? What is it worth to Green Bay to play this game of chicken with a suitor? Like, we're clearly seeing that teams aren't into giving out all this money or giving out draft stock, draft capital. So if Aaron Rodgers is on your roster right now, and you have a suitor, because I didn't see anybody else jumping out there. There wasn't a sweepstakes for Aaron Rodgers. Let's be clear on that. There's not like 3 or 4 teams sitting there like, yep, we'll take them too. We want to get in. We want in on this. We'll give you the first-round draft pick. There's no other teams out there like, yeah, we'll give you the first-round draft pick for Aaron Rodgers and take on that contract. It's New York Jets or bust. So in reality, I don't think that Green Bay, I know we're saying that Green Bay or is it Green Bay? I know some people have said Green Bay has all the leverage in this negotiation. I would disagree.
I don't know that it's necessarily leverage. I just don't think the Jets. Green Bay's got a backup plan. Like people listening right now, and we're on in Wisconsin right now, and people listening on 1070 and Madison and all over the great state of Wisconsin, you've at least got a backup plan. You know that, all right, well, if this doesn't work out, the plan is still the same. We're going with Jordan Love. He's going to be our quarterback next year.
How are you going with Jordan Love if he's still on? If Aaron Rodgers is still on your roster and you're paying him all that money?
They've already made the decision. They've already made the choice. Like, they're going with Jordan Love.
How?
And
all
Rodgers,
right, just answer me this question. How are they going with Jordan Love if the deal falls through to get rid of Aaron Rodgers?
Simple. Then he's going to be a really expensive backup quarterback.
That would be the dumbest thing ever in the history of dumbest things ever.
But I think the dumbest thing is the New York Jets, who are sitting there with no backup plan, no plan B, and haggling over a first-round pick. Dude, give up a first and a 2 next year, and the deal's done, and everybody's happy, and you move on. Like this, and the reports are out there that this is going to go, that the Jets plan on doing this all the way up until the draft. Okay, and then what's going to happen? You're going to roll out next year with Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas, who are coaching and GMing for their jobs next year with the same disaster you had this past season. Like, it feels like Green Bay's in a much better spot in my mind than the New York Jets are if this deal falls through.
I don't disagree with them being in a better position, but the value of the situation, I don't think that either one of them, and especially Green Bay, I think it's as problematic. I think it's just as problematic in tearing that team apart if you do not unload Aaron Rodgers. And the longer they let this thing, kind of carry on, I just think it's a bad look. I think it's a bad look for the players in that locker room that need to know if they're definitively moving on or not. I just think it's a bad look. It's a bad look.
So
you're saying haggling over a first-round draft pick for the Jets. Why is Green Bay haggling over a first-round draft pick for the trade?
Okay, if you look at the compensation that Matt Stafford, when he went to the Rams and the Lions and that whole deal was done, there was 2 first-round picks. And some of the pushback on that was, well, that's because they were picking up contracts from each other and all that. And okay, so that's fine. So instead of asking for 2 first-round picks, a first and a second. I don't know that if you're the Jets and you've been trying to figure out the quarterback position for decades, and you're in a conference with all the talent that's in that conference, and you're in a division with Josh Allen and with Tua and what Miami is doing, and all, like you have a real opportunity here, and it may just be for 2 years. But if you were to get some sort of an agreement from Rodgers that says, hey, not only am I going there for 1 year, I'm going to go there for at least 2, and then we'll figure it out. To me, that's all I would need to hear to make the deal happen. Like, I would make the deal happen today. If he were to say that for a first and a second. And to your point, this is not an ideal situation as it stands right now for either franchise. It's just hilarious that we're still sitting here and no deal is done, and nobody can seem to figure out who's going to win out when it comes to the compensation.
Well, that's certainly the most interesting aspect of all of this.
And Mark Murphy's sworn to secrecy. He can't
He's
talk
sworn
about
to sworn to secrecy
Yes, you are.
of a situation that everybody already knows all the details of. I mean, there's not much more. I think again, it was a play. He was playful with it. There's probably some sarcasm there. I mean, it's just get the deal done, man. Like, tomato. They want a 1. You don't want to give a 1, but you want to get rid of. They want Aaron Rodgers. You don't want Aaron Rodgers. Just do it. Do it and be done with it. If I'm Green Bay, just do it and be done with it, Jonas.
And also quickly before we get to Eddie Garcia for the latest, A.J. Hawk, I think, asked the most important question when it came to Rodgers and the situation when he was on the Pat McAfee show. And A.J. Hawk asked him the question. He said, had the Green Bay Packers called you up after you came out of the darkness and you crawled out of that gopher hole in Oregon, and they said, hey, we want to have you back, would you have gone back? And Rodgers kind of paused and said, that's a good question, because the feeling he got from talking to the Packers before he went underground was that they were ready to move on. So it does feel like the Packers have been kind of pushing towards this the entire time, and yet here we are, there's still no deal done, because you got the Jets who feel like they've got some leverage. It's entertaining, it's fascinating, but again, reports are saying this could go all the way up until the draft, and then personally, from an entertainment standpoint, I hope no deal gets done. I'm ready to talk about this all summer long. I think it's great.
I am sworn to secrecy.
Tired of it?
Tired of it.